not a spin-off because it started in its own universe, and then they're like, what if we just put it in this one anyway?
What if the multiverse was a thing? Because they're like, hey, we've got the Flash. Flash can just vibrate into a different universe.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, I did think it was really cool how at the end of their Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, they had Ezra Miller's like DC movie Flash show up for a cameo. It's like, oh, the multiverse is real. And they had like a little, oh, we're both Flashes moment.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of fades away. That was neat. I like them like acknowledging the multiverse, especially since DC cannot have a single movie universe stick together for the life of them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I really stopped watching around the time Draco Malfoy started showing up in the Flash.
He was actually good, though.
He was good. Like, I watched that season, but then I stopped.
Yeah, me too. I did stop.
Because after season 2, it just kind of went, woo.
Hey, Josh, do you want to voice your disapproval for this conversation any louder? Or?
No, I'm just tired.
Yeah, I know. You yawned right into the microphone, bud.
Sorry.
That's a message.
Okay.
Everybody ready?
How many notes do you have for this?
He
How
always
do
gets a
you
good
have
amount of
so
notes.
much notes for
find
this
things-
movie?
I find things to write down. Also, I've seen this movie like twice already.
I've never seen this movie.
I've never seen this movie either.
So we're not doing the show yet. Hold on.
Hello and welcome to the HQ Movie Review Podcast. I'm Josh,
I'm Jack.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Heather.
and this week we watched Chronicle.
Chronicle.
This is of Narnia.
No.
I wish.
Nope.
It would have been so much better.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually like Chronicles of Narnia.
I like it better than this.
My favorite one's Prince Caspian because Peter's an idiot.
That's one of the kids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm neutral on Chronicles of Narnia.
I think Voyage of the Dawn Treader is a cool name. I have no idea what happens in that movie.
A lot of stuff that
Wait,
didn't
they
happen
got to
in the
that
book.
movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to the third one.
There's
I
a-
thought they stopped after Prince Caspian.
No, there's 3.
There's a
damn.
boat, I think. I think
Yeah,
that's the
it's
Dawn
the
Treader.
one. It's the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That's the name of the boat.
Hey,
Which
I mean,
book
lots-
is that?
That's 6.
Chronicle.
Of Narnia.
Chronicle, a 2012 movie by Josh Trank. So, right
The
off the
Green
bat,
Goblin.
no, Josh Trank is
I know.
so. Right off the bat, I like Chronicle. I've seen it several times. It was my suggestion for the wheel. I am fond of this movie. I'm not a huge into the found footage. I don't know if I'd call it a genre, but like, I think it's a good movie. I think it's interesting and intellectual. Josh audibly yawned at least twice.
I'm tired. I've recently gone on a diet and I was hoping people move today. And then we decided to do it right after, and I hadn't gotten a nap.
I did a 10-mile bike ride, and I also helped you guys move a little bit. A little bit.
We didn't move.
I'm just
We helped
saying.
Other people.
I'm just saying.
I was tired.
You can yawn quietly. You were sending a message.
it
Yeah, no, I was. It was.
Yeah,
It
own
was-
up to it.
was a little boring.
There's no nothing of cinema.
So, my opinion on this movie is that the plot was very predictable. But I think found footage was a good idea for this specific story.
Yes.
I feel like if they tried to do this story any other way, like in any other style, it would not have worked at all.
So, what I was getting to is that I like this movie. I'm going to tell you one other movie that this director has worked on, and everything will make sense. Josh Trank directed Chronicle in 2012. In 2015, he directed Fant3stic, the Fantastic Four movie.
Oh.
Okay.
See, now all the pieces just click
Wait,
together,
didn't
right?
that also have Michael B. Jordan?
It did.
It did.
And couldn't he also fly in that?
I mean,
Yes.
as the Human Torch,
Yeah, he
yes.
was the Human Torch.
Okay.
So technically, Michael B. Jordan had 2 failed like superhero movies before he was like Killmonger in Black Panther. So hey, he got there. Good for him.
He made it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree about your thing about this only works in found footage. My opinion is that it still doesn't work, but yeah. No, that's it. I'm not a big fan of this. There's not enough going on. There's too many just blank establishing shots, I guess, where just nothing is happening.
I feel like that's more of a critique of found footage, though, because that is something that happens that you have to do in found footage movies to make it actually feel like it's found footage.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, I get it. That's also why I don't like found footage movies. But it's just not very entertaining in that you're just sitting there kind of waiting for something to happen.
I mean, a lot of it is about just the character interactions and the character growth, but some of it, like, I thought there was a lot of clever stuff they did with the cameras in this movie, specifically because of, like, the fact that one of the characters can telepathically control the camera, so you have a lot of shots that they could not do in, like, any other found footage movie and make it make sense.
See, I took that as them just wanting to put in cool shots, so they gave the character like, yeah, you can just control the camera.
I mean, yeah, but that's the whole crux of the movie is that they get telepathic powers. I don't think it happened in that order, Josh.
I'm not saying it happened in that order. I'm just saying, like, they made a movie that allowed that to happen. It wasn't like they came up with a way to make that happen.
I'm really confused about the critique here. And I don't mean to, like, harp on you. This isn't, like, me poking jabs at you like normal. I genuinely don't get what
Like,
the issue is on that one.
if there was a regular found footage movie that they had figured out a way to explain the camera motions that they were doing here in unique and creative ways, that would be interesting. This was just utilizing the bland plot of, oh, he has telekinesis, so he just moves the camera around. Like, it lost its appeal to me because it was too easy.
Interesting. I don't necessarily agree, but that's all right.
I want to talk about the whole thing of, oh, he can control the camera with his mind so we can get all these cool shots. I understand, yes, he can control the camera with his mind, but, like, he really had to think about where he was aiming that camera, because it's not like he can see through it in his mind. He has to make sure that he's, like, putting it in the right spot to see what he wants to record and zoom at the right time and shit like that.
Right.
Yeah, like there's one scene where right after they learn to fly and stuff, and they're like, you're doing a sleepover or whatever, and he just kind of floats the camera up above the 3 of them, and you know, he just kind of like floats it up there. I'm like, is he just pointing the viewfinder back at himself to be able to see what he's aiming at? Because, like, how else would you know when to stop and when you're in frame? And yeah, it just doesn't make any sense unless you're just staring at the viewfinder, but he's not looking at the camera.
I mean, maybe, but I took that as he had been practicing with it, because, like, he always has cameras with him. It's specifically the one camera that's his main camera. Eventually they replace it, but, like, he always has that camera with him. He's always, like, playing with it and testing his powers. I think it was believable that he just got really good at knowing what the camera was looking at. The camera essentially became, like, a part of him, not in the literal sense that he could see through it, but that, like, just like he was using the powers instinctually in creative ways, he just started using the camera that way too.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but it'd be like a videographer who's obviously done this for a living, done it a lot, and then you just ask them to be like, all right, now close your eyes and point the camera at the thing you want and get the shot. it'd be extremely difficult to do because it's such a visual medium.
I think a better example is like a cowboy shooting from the hip, because he can still see, his eyes are still open. He can see where the camera is pointing because he's looking at it. But just like how when you're like aiming a gun or anything, you want to hold it so you can look down the sights. Shooting from the hip is essentially I'm looking at a thing and my hand is pointing at a thing, but I can't see where my hand is pointing.
I mean, yeah, but it's also introducing the odd angle of it being pointed not in the same direction as you are facing. Adds tremendous difficulty to that.
Yeah, but like the whole thing is that like because he's constantly using the power, he gets really good at it.
He is also shown to be the stronger of the three, and they specifically talk when they're on top of the building, when Steve is talking to him about how like he can't do things that require a lot of finesse.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems like it's something that he's better at than them.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cameras, it is also like because the camera itself is a huge part of the story, not just because it's a found footage film, but like it's a huge part of Andrew's character that like the camera is a barrier. Like Steve is 100% right when he says it. The camera is something that Andrew starts doing because he doesn't want to look at people and he doesn't want to like he wants the camera between them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is actually a big character moment for Andrew when he starts manipulating the camera because it's no longer between him and whoever he's talking to. It can be off to the side or over there. So it serves multiple functions in the story.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's hilarious that like I have no delusions about this movie having done well critically or like by fan reaction, but also it's really amazing that Josh Trank directed this and then 3 years later directed Fant3stic.
Yeah,
Call it Fant3stic.
that's how they put it on the
Yeah,
posters.
one, it's spelled with the 4 in place of the A, but it also differentiates it from the previous Fantastic Four movies.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you know that when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the 2015 movie and not the previous ones.
I'm not sure I saw that one.
I didn't.
I did. It
I also did.
was not great. Also, they do... You know how in Invincible, they always get right up to saying the word Invincible and then they cut to the like opening credits the first time?
Yep.
Yeah.
They did that with the name Fantastic Four at the end of the movie. Like they did a roll credits and it did not work.
I hate that.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Because they treated it as this big, like, profound moment where Reed, like, he's like, hey, we should have a name. I got it. We'll be that, and it cuts to the title screen. I'm like, that's so
That's
dumb.
very dumb.
Like, if it was a creative name, maybe, but calling yourselves the Fantastic Four is so goofy. Like, and I'm not saying comics movies need to be like serious or anything like that, but like you can't treat something like that as serious. You have to make it goofy if it's gonna be goofy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just make it something a news reporter says about them.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways to get like the really silly stuff in is, oh yeah, the media gave them this name.
And then it just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Was there an after credit to the Fant3stic movie? Or did they just kind of end it with...
For the life of me, I do not remember.
I don't remember.
I don't think there was.
Because it's not a Marvel film.
Yeah, technically, Fantastic Four was owned by
Sony.
It was another one of the Sony movies.
Yeah,
But
but like,
it didn't-
end credits had started being a thing by then.
Yeah, they had, but it was really at that point it was still kind of like a hey, Marvel's doing this and this is a them thing.
Who needs reasoning when you can just do things?
You're sounding a whole lot like Andrew right now.
Anyway, so I have on here, I wrote down, based on where it is in my notes relatively early in the movie, that the graphics are good for the time.
Yeah.
I think I would like to rescind that based on the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a couple shots in this that are actually like genuinely very good for 2012
Yeah.
and like the shoestring budget that they had. But then at the same time, there are a couple shots where it's like, ah, yes, here is here's some green screen footage of one of the actors looking up, and then we just kind of put it in frame and moved it real fast.
Yep.
And it does not always translate well.
Nah, it really doesn't. The scenes where they're flying were just
I didn't think they were too bad.
they weren't too
Yeah.
bad, but they were very obvious.
Yeah,
with it.
the problem is that it's a lot of like quality roller coaster, where some of it's like, oh, this actually looks genuinely good, and then a lot of it is that like blur effect. We're just gonna move them fast and blur it.
Yeah, it wasn't consistent, and that was what like made it worse. Is that okay? You have some good ones. There's some like good effects and whatnot, and then there's just really, really bad ones. And it's like, well, why can't they all be on the same level? Even if they're all at like a middle level of like okay.
Like when he was juggling in the talent show.
Yeah, no, the juggling does not.
I think what's dumb is that in one of the shots where he's standing on the end of the tightrope and Steve gives Andrew 3 balls to juggle, they're genuine balls and he actually starts juggling. And then when they cut to wider shots, they're just fake balls.
Yeah.
And he's fake juggling.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, okay, well, if we had a bigger budget and better technology, that would be just a flawless cut. But we don't have either of those things. So, I'm looking at my phone right now because I was looking at the list of Josh Trank's movies. I did completely forget that they made a Fant3stic 2.
What?
They did?
Yeah, in 2017.
Oh.
They made a sequel. Because, like,
I mean, I never saw the first one, but
yeah, I saw both of them. I forgot that they were 2 separate movies.
I didn't even know they made a second one
Yeah,
with the same cast.
with this, yeah, it's a direct sequel. Because the first one, they like get their powers, and then who did they fight in the first one?
It was Doctor Doom.
Okay, I thought they fought him in who did they fight in the second one then?
I don't know, probably
'Cause I
Doctor
could've sworn-
Doom.
It might be that they fought him twice. I think they fought him twice is what happened.
Yeah, because they basically set up Doctor Doom in like the same way they did the Fantastic Four. Was that it was Sue didn't go into the because it was like another dimension
Right.
instead of what was it, like a cosmic storm or
Yeah,
something?
it's a cosmic storm in the comics.
Yeah. So instead of doing that, they went, well, what if we just another dimension? And so they go into the other dimension, but Sue doesn't go. It's it's Reed, Ben, Johnny, and Doctor Doom, whose name I forget.
Victor Von Doom.
Victor, yeah. So it's them. They go, and they come back. They get their powers, but there's like an overflow, and so Sue gets powers too, for some reason. And then that's how they got their powers. So they set up Doctor Doom.
Yeah, like I know he was in the first one, but like the second one's where he like gets his Doom powers, where he becomes like grafted with alien rocks or metal or something.
I don't know.
These are bad movies.
They were, and I only saw the first one once, so I do not remember. I also don't know what happens in the second one, and didn't know there was a second one.
Yeah.
see, it's been so long since I even watched the original Fantastic Four movies that I don't remember. Like, I know it's Doctor Doom in the first one and Silver Surfer in the second.
Yeah. I mean, technically the villain is supposed to be Galactus, but they were like, it's too early for us to be realistic about having a giant spaceman who eats planets, so we're gonna make him a big cloud, big space cloud.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
It was dumb. Also, Galactus didn't show up until the very end of the movie, so they treated the Silver Surfer like he was the main villain.
Even though he's just a herald.
Yeah, his job is literally to come to a planet and say, hey, Galactus is coming.
Yeah.
That's his job.
Interesting.
So anyway, you guys watch My Hero Academia?
Yes.
No.
You suck, sir. Like, I haven't finished it. I'm waiting for, like, a good time to just binge it all. But, like, how dare you?
I know very few things about My Hero.
Anyway, I did want to say that this is the way the powers work in this is very similar to their explanation for how quirks work in My Hero, where it's like, oh yeah, it's like a muscle. You work it out, it gets stronger. I thought that was a neat little parallel that doesn't really go anywhere because these aren't connected in any way. It's just
Yep.
that's cool. The power system kind of works the same here.
Yeah.
Except in this, you just get all the powers.
Well, I mean, their
Well,
power was
You get...
variations of telekinesis. They didn't really get anything besides that.
Yeah.
It wasn't variations of it. It all just seems like the same thing.
I mean, some people might separate telekinesis from like telekinetic flight, but generally, yeah,
I guess, yeah.
you're just
Telekinesis is a little overpowered of a superpower.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. That's why characters like Jean Grey and Professor X are super crazy powerful. I mean, they also have like telepathy, which is also insanely powerful, but like just the ability to like, all right, I'm making a force field so you can't hit me, and I'm moving things with my mind. I could just like the force, just the physical application of I'm going to crush something inside your body now because I want to.
Yeah.
That is devastatingly overpowered.
I think telepathy is kind of a, like, if you just got telepathy, I feel like that'd be kind of a lame power.
You know, telepathy by itself sucks. Like, depending, I guess if you could, like, control people, maybe, like, if you had mind control, but if it's just, hey, I can read minds and, like, talk to you inside my head, that's
Kinda lame.
nothing.
I mean, it's useful.
It's useful, sure,
Yeah.
but,
The
like,
utility power.
yeah, it's something that works really great as part of a power set, but if it's just, like, hey, I can communicate telepathically and nothing else, that is... You're the team's radio. Congratulations. We need someone to link our minds so we don't have to talk out loud, and that's all you do.
I mean,
Sit in the van.
It worked for them in Naruto.
Yes, but they had
yeah.
other abilities, is the point of that.
Yeah.
No, I meant the radio guy. They did that until they died.
Yeah, but they had other abilities besides just being a radio.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember that character. Who's the radio guy?
Dino's dad.
Oh, well, yeah, he had other... they had other abilities, like taking over people's bodies.
Yeah.
Just being the radio wasn't useful unless it was the war arc where he just sat in the van.
And that's what I was saying. I said it worked out for them when they had someone who could do that.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But he didn't get by himself. If that was his only ability, useless. It was
Until
really
the war.
Yeah, until the war, where he had a whole team of people helping him do it, and even then, his only job was to sit in the van and be the... I'm saying van. He was saying in like the headquarters of the... They don't have vans in Naruto. But his whole job was sit at HQ, be the radio guy. That's
and
it.
then die.
And then die. But like, that's what I'm saying. It's utility. It's useful as part of a group or as part of a power set, but by itself, by yourself, garbage ability.
Yeah.
Besides, reading people's minds wouldn't even be that useful because like, people don't always think in complete sentences. Sometimes it's like shapes and feelings and a picture, and that's the whole thought. And even then, like thought isn't just linear. There's a whole bunch of different thoughts happening at the same time. If you were to read someone's mind and they weren't consciously projecting a thought, it would be chaos. It would be nothing useful.
I would like to think that if you had a, telepathy power, that it would come with some kind of interpretation ability. Like, oh, it helps you to understand their brain logic.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, even then, like, it's still like, if you don't think, like, if you try and think about what you're thinking about without controlling what you're thinking about, which is a wild thing for me to say for you to try to do. But if you were to try to do that, it would be just random, like, flashes of thoughts and concepts and, like, like intrusive thoughts, you know? Like, there's so much stuff that just passes through your brain that you don't even really care about. Your brain just says a thing, It judges your reactions like, all right, cool, not about that. Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing your brain just does. Imagine you're trying to read someone's mind, and then just like horrible atrocity flashes in their brain for a second, and then they're like, ugh, don't like that, and they just move on. But they hit you with that. They hit you with the full force of whatever that thought was.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh god, and they're like, so what's wrong with you? And you're like,
Jack,
nothing.
You're perfectly describing what happened between Luke and Ben Solo.
Yeah, that kind of was. Luke was like, you're doing what? And Ben's like, no, I was sleeping. I have a lot of thoughts about the sequel trilogy, and I'm not like, I like the movies individually. They have a lot of strong parts, a lot of strong suits, but I have a lot of thoughts about how the trilogy went. And if we get into that, we're not going to talk anymore about Chronicle. And I do want to talk at least a little bit about Chronicle for most of this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, if you insist.
So, you mentioned the graphical things, the video effects. I also want to point out that the sound effects are a big portion of this movie too.
Yes.
And some of the sound effects are pretty good. The whooshes of them taking off in flight,
Right.
gives you the sensation. I do not like the high-pitched tinnitus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tinnitus.
I do not like the tinnitus sounds.
Ah.
They
Well, you would hate being me.
yeah, I know. I know. I'm just saying I don't
like them
that.
either.
I mean, yeah, they weren't great. I think you might be spoiled by modern anime sound effects because they have some really good sounds for like random psychic abilities and magic and stuff, that things that don't actually have sounds in the real world because they don't exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the sound effects in this were a little lacking, and I fully chalked that up to it was 2012.
Yeah.
We don't have all of the great things we have now as like references.
Yeah, I mean, we had Sword Art Online.
Oh yeah, sort of. Yep, that's a. I'm not sure what kind of example you're trying to give for Sword Art Online. Is that an example of good things or an example of 2012?
It was an example of 2012.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I mean, we had the Avengers.
Yeah, but like, the Avengers was, and this is weird to say, a fairly grounded movie as far as superhero movies go. Like, it was
Yeah.
right at the tail end of, hey, we have to be really serious about this. That's why Hawkeye's costume is just black with like a little hint of purple in it. Like, Avengers is extremely grounded. There's no crazy psychic powers. It's like, alright, Thor is strong and he flies, and he does lightning sometimes, but only with the hammer. The Hulk is big and strong, but when he jumps and lands on a building, he breaks it. Iron Man can fly and shoot lasers, but he does a lot of missiles too.
Hawkeye can shoot arrows.
Yeah.
This is an accurate statement.
Then
it's-
Black Widow can punch things.
Yeah, she punches things pretty good and shoots guns sometimes. But, like, they even tone down Black Widow's abilities. Like, in the comics, she is a super soldier. And, like, she doesn't use her... I think she uses her shocky gauntlet thingies a couple
The
times.
stingers?
Yeah. Spiders don't have sting. It's a weird
It is weird.
name for those. Anyway, I think she uses those, like, once or twice in the movie, but it's mostly just hand-to-hand combat and guns and running from the Hulk.
Yep.
But it's a fairly grounded superhero movie, so they didn't have to do any crazy wild sound effects that you've never heard before, because you know what punches sound like in movies. You know what thunder sounds like. Lightning makes thunder, but like
I was like, hold on, where are you going with that?
but like, you know what, like, you know the generic electricity note, like when he's charging he's standing on the Empire State Building, I think, and
Yeah.
charging Mjolnir. He's like gathering much lightning and it's striking the building and it makes generic buzz electricity noise. You know what that's supposed to sound like in your head. So these are all very quote unquote real imaginable sounds. So they're not really making anything up for the Avengers.
They're already established sounds.
Exactly. You know what a punch sounds like in movies. They don't normally sound like that, but you know what it's supposed to sound like in movies. But like, when you have this movie where it's like, oh, it's this crazy, like, psychic power to push things, we can definitely make the sound of the things getting pushed and the whoosh of the wind, but the sound that psychic ability makes, that's just a thing you had to make up. And to your credit, this movie does not do a stellar job of making that a pleasant movie experience. And maybe that was the goal, but I feel like if that was the goal and they succeeded, they did not succeed at making it a pleasant movie experience, which probably supersedes that.
I just thought of something that could have made the movie a little better, I think.
Do tell, I'm genuinely interested.
And it has to do with, like, you know, we mentioned how the plot's very predictable and, you know, it seems everything's very straightforward. What if you put in a twist to their power where it was like they could only push or only pull?
Like individually, or just all of them could only do
Either
thing?
one. Either all of them do it, or, you know, the one person can push, one person can pull. You know, what if you put in, like, unique twist on it?
I think that's a very cool idea. I really wish you didn't steal it from that book series you're trying to get me to read.
I mean, that's kind of where I got the idea, yeah, but
It also is very much Fantastic Four-esque.
go on. What?
Because they all experience something that gives them superpowers, but they all get distinctly unique superpowers.
Okay, I mean,
I mean,
guess,
sort of.
Yeah, but they're all the same telekinesis power, though. It's just the application of that would be different.
I don't know. I think there is merit to both what they did and your idea. They're both good ideas. I think the merit in what they did in this is that each of the three boys have a very different grasp of the power. Like, Andrew is definitely better at finesse, but he also is kind of a powerhouse. But, like, Matt and Steve definitely are better at just, like, raw power or something. I think it does speak a little bit to their personalities, but I fully understand what you're saying, that it would have been much better if they were more specified with, like, less overlap. I think maybe...
Or even if they could all do the same things, but, you know, some people were better at one thing. And they kind of did that with the flight.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Steve kind of, like, was like, oh, yeah, flying's easy. I just kind of wish they went more into that kind of thing.
They definitely could have pushed that more. I agree. Yeah, no, they unlock flight and almost immediately die, which is
Yeah,
which is great.
accurate.
What are the odds of being on the flight path? Like, the exact flight path of an airplane.
So rare.
Yeah.
It
Like-
does only happen once, but yeah.
Like, that's gotta be
Like, you gotta be at the right altitude first.
the right altitude, the right, like, geographical location.
Well, it's certainly a rare occurrence if there was any. But also, that one I think is a nitpick. Your other criticisms are pretty valid. That's a nitpick.
I wasn't
Yeah.
criticizing that. I was just saying, like,
What are the
what
odds?
are the odds?
Hey, what are the odds of finding a hole in the ground with a magic rock that gives you telekinesis?
Oh, speaking
Probably
of which,
super
I wanted
rare.
to circle back to that. What do you think that was supposed to be? Was that supposed to be alien, magical?
I'm thinking alien because there was something moving in the rock.
I also thought alien. I kind of like that the movie didn't explain it because, like, realistically, there's no way these guys are gonna figure that out.
Yeah. No, I didn't say it was a good or bad thing. I just was curious about what you thought it was.
Oh yeah, no, that was just a side thing. But no, I think it was alien. Like, they did the shot of he went back to where the hole was and he lifted the camera up and you could see, like, swirls in the
Yeah.
ground of, like, maybe whatever was drilling there, or like the energy
Crop
coming
circles.
up did that. Yeah, sort of like crop circles. So I thought alien stuff, and the government was like, nope, you guys have to get out of here, leave. So probably aliens. Be wild if it was magic, right? Like there's an unmade sequel somewhere where he gets to Tibet and he sees the monks and they're just wizards. He wanders into Carmartage from Doctor Strange and it's like, oh yeah, come on in. We're doing spells and incantations over here.
Yeah, I must have missed the part where he said he wanted to go to Tibet.
Oh yeah, no. It was they were like singing in the library, and Steve was like, yeah, I was thinking about flying over to like Tahiti or I think he says Hawaii or something, but he's like, I was thinking of flying over there this weekend. And they're like, yeah, and Andrew's like, I want to go to Tibet. There's these like monks and like it's gonna be really cool. And the other guys kind of blow it off, but like I thought that was actually a really nice piece of storytelling where like Andrew wanted to go to Tibet to be like knowledgeable or whatever, or like he thought this is a good experience for us. And the other guys just kind of blew it off, and they were like, ah, no, but there's no bikinis in Tibet. But at the end of the movie, Matt has grown past his weird wannabe like philosophy major thing, and is actually thoughtful about it. He's like, yeah, no, look, we made it to Tibet, man. And he leaves the camera there to, I guess, be found by whoever compiled this found footage movie.
Right?
Some government clerk was like, oh, that was actually really helpful. This is the perfect ending to my report. I'm just gonna take this.
I feel like, okay, so this is gonna be a little bit nitpicky, but like, the whole point of a found footage movie is that it's like someone discovered this archive of tapes, but then this movie just fucks around with that, like, oh yeah, here's some random person's camera angle of them recording the fight happening in the city.
Okay, see, I actually kind of liked that as a, hey, there's no way we can get this, but people are constantly just videoing things, even to their own, like, detriment. Even if it puts them in danger, they're just constantly, like, videoing stuff. So it makes sense that we would have a lot of angles. I did think it was stupid when he lands on the roof and grabs everyone's cell phones, so we have multiple angles of that, and we can hear their conversation. That I thought was kind of dumb. But in general, having those parts of the movies be like a cut together part of, all right, well, here's the only angle we have on this. It's security footage of the inside of this bank because no one's in there. But then they pop through someone's living room and that person was watching the fight happen out their window and that person has an angle on it. I personally liked that.
Yeah, I mean, I figured this movie had to have been put together by, someone in the government, mainly because when they first get their powers, he loses his camera.
Yeah.
Right? So all that footage from the beginning of the movie was gone to him. Andrew, none of the boys had that footage anymore.
They go back and the hole has been filled in.
Yeah. So, and we see the, government officials there, and, obviously we're supposed to infer that someone from the government went and found the camera and took it.
Yeah. Wonder if anyone in the government has psychic powers. Like, someone went down there and got the camera, right? Do you think another, like, burst of energy came out and, like, messed with their brain? Probably not. But, we're never gonna find out. They're not making any more of this movie, but, like, I don't know.
Does that mean someone from the federal government went to Tibet because they saw Matt flying there?
Well, see, they didn't see him flying there because he just flew off into the night and they lost track of him, right? Yeah. But they got the old camera and they saw them talking about, like, oh, I'm gonna go to Tibet. And they're like, maybe he went to Tibet. So they went there looking for him and they found the camera that he just left outside. It was probably dead and horribly damaged because he left it outside in Tibet.
Yeah. How does Matt live his life after everything that happens, honestly?
I imagine, in hiding.
Yeah, I imagine he kind of like flies into like the outskirts of a town, walks in, probably like steals some food, and then leaves. Maybe he does like some random superheroing, and then he just leaves to the next town. He's like, all right, well, bye. He's definitely like a wanted man.
I mean, he probably just went somewhere like, not a first world country and just, went, all right, cool. This is my life now.
Oh yeah, no, outside of America, he probably did that. But like as he was getting to like, because I guess this takes place in Seattle. He could have just immediately left over the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, It is implied that, like, he does say, like, I'm gonna find out, like, what exactly happened to us to give us the powers. Like, he wants to figure out what it is.
Yeah, but his first stop is definitely the monks of Tibet, who have a legend about levitating that I don't think is related to this at all.
Probably not.
He's like, yeah, I hear you guys levitate, and they're like, yeah, no, that's really just we meditate and feel like we're levitating. He's like, oh, so you guys can't fly? And like, no. Are you stupid?
Scrubs.
Oh man, wasting my time. Whoosh.
He just flies off and like, what?
And now they have a new god.
I did actually, going back to my previous statement, I think it's interesting that they don't at any point say superhero in this movie.
Because
they
they're
don't.
not heroes.
They're
Well, I mean,
not.
obviously they're not heroes, but
They're
even when
not.
they're like, yeah, I was thinking maybe we could do something more with this, or we could do good. Like, clearly, Matt was on like the track of becoming superhero, but they never say superhero, which is fine. It's not like a thing or anything, but like, I think it's interesting that they specifically never say it once.
I mean, they definitely don't deserve to be called superheroes. More
Oh.
like super assholes.
No, not at all.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, they're dicks.
I mean, they're teenagers. They're teenage boys in America.
they're dicks.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
Yeah.
pretty synonymous.
I'll edit that out so you just said the right one the first time. But I'll leave in the part about me saying I edited it out.
Good.
So they know.
But yeah, no, they get power and immediately abuse it. They have great power and zero responsibility. They're opposite Spider-Man. But it's not opposite, more like inverse. I don't know. I don't have to do important math anymore. These words mean nothing to me. My point, but yeah, they get the powers and they immediately like goof off and prank people and hurt people sometimes. And they don't really mean to hurt anyone except for Andrew. But like,
Andrew definitely meant to hurt those people.
yes, he did. But at the start of the movie, or I guess the midpoint of the movie, they were just like joking around and doing pranks and like scaring some people. And they take it a little bit too far. And then Andrew pushes a guy like in his car off of the road, and they're like, "Hey, you took it too far."
Yeah. I mean, my issue with that is that there was so much time after that happened that it seemed like Andrew was fine, you know?
I don't know. I think it was more like, because I definitely having seen this movie multiple times, there are definitely signs of like, oh, he's not okay, and oh, hey, that's a red flag. And I mean, obviously, you guys knew where this was going. It was not subtle at all. But there were a lot of moments that were like, hey, this could be looked at as nothing, especially if you were someone in the world watching this in real time and not watching a clip show of this guy making bad choices continuously. But a lot of it was like, hey, he is definitely taking the wrong approach to this, or he's like, every time he stops and's like, yeah, I've been reading about like apex predators. That's at that point he's already gone, but like, he does a lot of stuff like that throughout the movie where it's just like, hey, that's not a normal, like, healthy response to what just happened. And he should probably talk to like a therapist about it, but he won't.
Because you can't afford it.
Well, also because he can't afford it, but mostly because he just won't. Changing subjects real quick. I thought it was an interesting thing that they, like, right after the incident with like the guy and pushing him off the road, Matt establishes rules about like, we can't use it on living things, don't use it in anger, and don't use it in public.
Yeah.
And to varying degrees, they break those rules. But anytime Andrew uses it in anger, the other two can feel it.
Yeah.
That was an interesting detail, to the point where I didn't even notice, I didn't make the connection at the first time I watched it, that like, when he uses it against his dad in the fight, we cut to Matt at like Casey's house, and he gets a nosebleed, and they don't really connect it. But then Steve calls, probably because he also just got a nosebleed and felt whatever was happening,
Yeah.
and they just kind of brush past it. And I didn't make the connection the first time I saw it that Steve was calling because of that also. It wasn't just a random nosebleed, and Steve wasn't just randomly calling. All three things were connected.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
How much more do you have, Jack?
7 or 8 things.
Okay.
If you wanted to throw to the game show, did you have the game show ready? Or
Yeah, I have the game show ready.
Okay.
Of course I have the game show ready.
you will need a transition of some kind, a segue, if you will.
Yeah, well, there's never a segue for this. So
I think we just did.
I always just hop in with who's ready to play everyone's favorite game?
Oh boy, the game.
The game.
The game.
The game.
Nope, stop that. I'm having
That is
flashbacks
the-
to elementary
is-
school.
That is the
No.
new title because we didn't come up with one yet. It is just
The game.
the game.
Stop. You don't. You have to understand why that's not.
Oh, I do. I do.
I'm confused.
You've never heard of the game?
I've heard of the game, but that's old. Like, people don't do that anymore.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
for
but like,
life.
if you lived through it, man,
It's for
It's-
life.
it's
For
different.
life. No,
I lived
I
through
found.
it.
Did-
No, no, no.
But
no.
like, did you experience it, or were you just
Yeah.
alive at the same time it happened?
There is a way to win the game.
Yeah, I've also won the game.
Yeah, I've won the
so-
game.
Yeah, we've all
Uh,
won the game at one point, but like, at some point, it's just started again by someone. It just happens, all right?
Nah, I've won the game. I don't play it anymore.
One does not simply win the game.
It's actually really simple to win the game.
Look, sometimes you win for a time, but like, then you lose again, and you're right back in the hole.
All right, the game.
Who's ready for the game?
Give it a name, please. Give it an actual name. You don't have to do it right now, but like, please.
Listen, I started this off with a name, and you guys didn't like it.
Cause it was dumb.
Yeah, the options aren't bad name or nothing.
This feels a whole lot like Quidditch renaming. And now you're just gonna have to bleep that out.
I kind of like Quadriball, honestly. It's not that bad.
Quantaball.
Oh yeah,
Quanta
IQA
ball?
recommended Quantaball.
What?
Quantaball.
Quantaball. That, nah, no.
Can we play the game
Does it
now?
have quantum
Heather,
energy?
you seem very excited to play this.
No, I just
for
don't
once
want.
in your
I
life.
just don't want to continue talking about Quidditch.
It's like they started saying Kwanzaa ball but failed.
Jack, you're gonna have to bleep so much of this out.
Why? Can we not say Quidditch?
We made it a thing at the very beginning of this podcast that we were not gonna let people know that.
Brandon, up until that sentence, we didn't.
No,
So
I
the game
want you,
show.
I want you to bleep every instance of the word Quidditch and just leave everything else in.
I mean, I feel like it's fairly obvious. It's Quanta ball.
Only to people who play Quidditch, though.
It can be Googled.
Could it, though?
I don't think if you Google. I do not think if you Google Quantaball, Quidditch will come up.
Surgical laser fiber. Interesting.
That's not Quidditch.
Okay, but now I want to know what this is.
They're pens.
Why are they pens?
Those are pens.
Oh, I guess they're ballpoint pens.
Yeah.
It's not a good name for the sport, but it's too good of a name for a pen.
Anyways, the game.
The game.
The game.
The game show. Brandon's game.
The game show.
Bender's game.
Bender's game?
Bender's game.
Yeah, it's one of the-
Ender's Game?
Nope, see, that's a book. I was making a reference to the Futurama movie.
Well, you see, I've never seen Futurama.
The game.
It's really
The
good.
the game.
Here's our first user review. Superficial with no superpowers.
That's false.
Yeah, there are superpowers in the movie.
I'm gonna say 7.
I think 5. I don't think they liked it that much.
I'm gonna go 3.
Heather, why are you going 7? This is.
I don't know. You think I care about this game?
You were very insistent on playing it like 2
I
minutes
didn't
ago.
want to talk about Quidditch. I did not want to play the game.
So we got 7, 5, and 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Points go to Jack and Josh.
Nah.
4 out of 10.
4, yay!
Yeah, like I said, I don't
I'm
think
gonna
anyone
pull.
liked
I'm
this
just gonna
movie.
say a number every time, regardless of the tone.
Do you want me to just pull up the roll a d10 on the computer for you? or-
Yes.
All right, cool. It's me, Josh, and Rando Calrissian.
Oh God, that's a reference. So this person just thought it was predictable
Yeah.
and not great.
Josh, did you write that review?
I went back in time
Josh, are you rigging the results by time traveling?
and then intentionally writing a weird false statement for the title to attract
he
Brandon's
knew it would.
attention.
He
Yeah.
knew it would get Brandon's attention.
So is there anything else in the review?
They talk about how it's not like a deep story, and it's just like, yeah, kids get superpowers. One of them.
It happens
takes
every
the
day.
Oh, you know, kids getting superpowers.
Boring. Old
oh
hat.
man.
They also didn't like that there wasn't an explanation as to what the fuck the thing was.
I
Gave
mean,
them the
that's
powers.
No, that's
That's part of the mystery.
yeah.
yeah.
Like this is a person who they think a plot hole is anything that's not resolved by the end of the movie. I feel like they're like, oh, that wasn't
Yeah.
explained. Plot hole.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't agree with this review is they talk about how there's not much like characterization of the 3 main guys, and I'm like, no, we get like,
That's 99% of the movie.
yeah, like we get the deep dive on, oh, Andrew's home life is hell because his mother's dying and his father abuses him.
Like we even learn about Steve's parents.
Yeah,
We don't even we learn about they don't matter at all in the story.
yeah.
Oddly enough, I think the person we don't learn as
learn
much
the least
about
about.
is Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We learn that like he wants to like run a charity,
Yeah.
and he used to be not a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like Steve, we learned about his family, like he wants to go into politics, like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Obviously, we know a lot about Andrew just by the fact
Yeah.
that he's in almost every single shot of the film.
But like
But-
Matt's whole thing is that he doesn't know himself. Like he starts the movie trying to figure out who he wants to be by just randomly reading philosophy books and
Yeah.
applying that to his life. And everyone's like, "Hey, that's super pretentious." And Matt just doesn't get it. And then he doesn't really get it until the end of the movie where he's like, "No, I'm going to try and figure out what happened and I'm sorry." And even then it's like he has the least character growth. It's kind of shallow, but we get a pretty good idea of who he is and what he's going through, even if we hear nothing about his home life.
Yeah.
Literally, the only piece of information we get about his family is false information because he lies about it being his mom's birthday so he can go talk to Casey alone.
Yeah. Which I feel like Andrew would know that.
I mean, I don't know all my aunts and uncles' birthdays.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Do you?
I don't.
Well, there you go.
So I said that's fair.
Well, I'm glad we agree.
You know, I just realized Matt doesn't realize that his aunt's dead.
Oh yeah, he doesn't know.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know.
Because he just left.
I mean, he'll find out because,
How?
or maybe because if he did just like abandon the whole city.
Yeah.
But
He
I also-
abandoned the whole country.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if there was any time he was like still in the States, the news would have been like, yeah, this wild thing went down and this kid's whole family is dead. I guess his dad's alive.
Yeah, his dad's still alive.
He's like, yeah, this kid, his mom is dead, his cousin's missing. If you know anything, tell the cops.
Yeah.
So if he had stayed in the country long enough for news to get out, he might have seen that. But otherwise, he knew that his aunt was like terminally ill.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got 1 point Josh, 1 point Jack, no points Heather.
Woo.
On the board.
Second user review. A kind of, sort of, Hancock prequel.
I mean, it doesn't fit with the lore of Hancock, but I get where they're coming from.
The flight is somewhat similar, I guess. But Hancock's super strong, not
Yeah, his whole thing.
telekinesis.
He has super strength, flight, and immortality.
As long as he's not next to whatever her name was.
His soulmate, I don't remember her name either, honestly. But yeah, no, it's that. It's not at all related, really, except that they fly and are jerks.
Anyway, what are your guesses?
I'm gonna go with 5 again.
I'm gonna go with 4.
Oh, look at that. My answer is also 5.
I rolled a D10 on Google and got 5, so that's what Heather is guessing with.
Well, the points go to Heather and Jack.
Woohoo!
This person gave it an 8 out of 10.
What?
Wow.
8.
They really liked this movie.
I guess they also really like Hancock.
Hancock too. Yeah.
Hancock wasn't bad.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't
I've never
great.
seen it.
It
You're not
wasn't
missing
great.
anything.
I mean, I didn't figure it I would.
I would talk about what this person wrote about, except they spent the first 3 paragraphs of the user review just talking about Hollywood and like films from 1947.
What?
That's
Why?
odd. Also, the fact that you said the first 3 paragraphs is
Yup.
concerning, because if they spent that long talking about Hollywood in general,
How long is this review?
Many paragraphs.
Ah, you didn't even bother
Too many
to
to
count.
count.
Nope, too much. Way too much.
All right,
So,
horrifying.
next one.
yep, we got 1 point Heather, 2 points Jack, 1 point Josh. The next user review. Finally, an interesting take on found footage films.
7. Actually, nope. Hold on. No, 7. Yeah, 7.
What is my answer? What shall it be?
Heather, your answer is
I-
6.
My answer is 6.
I'm gonna block Jack out and say 8.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh, he's playing Price's Right rules.
What's the answer?
And it works out. This was a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
boy.
Yeah, this person really liked this movie. They thought it was a good spin on found footage and had a good story.
I mean, it's better than like any other found footage movies that I've seen, because I really didn't like those.
How many found footage movies have you seen?
It was really just the one.
What's the other found footage movie you've seen?
I can't even remember the title because I hated it.
Was it
The Blair Witch
was it
Project?
The Blair Witch Project?
No.
That's the most
Yeah,
famous
that
one. I
is
feel
the
like you
most
would have
famous
remembered
one.
it.
Paranormal Activity?
No.
guess that was
well,
found
yeah,
footage,
I've
wasn't
seen
it?
that. Yeah, but that wasn't that good either.
I mean, that
I
one
wasn't that bad though.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity wasn't that bad. When I think of found footage, I think of handheld shaky cam stuff.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity is very much like, we just have a bunch of security cameras in our house.
Yeah. I mean, it's still under the same category by
Yeah,
default.
It is in fact found footage, but it's not like what I think of when I think of found footage.
Yeah. What's the one with aliens though?
Oh,
Earth to Echo?
No.
what?
I remember Earth to Echo.
Earth to Echo.
I have
Earth to
no
Echo
idea
was
what that
good.
is.
It was good.
Was
It
like-
was a cute little alien.
Like robot.
Yeah.
It was so cute. It was like
did
easy.
not
Was it
watch-
found footage?
I did
Yeah.
not watch that
It was
at
found
all.
It was
footage.
found footage. That was yeah.
No.
I
it
feel like
was,
I've heard that. It's.
I think I want to say it was a Nickelodeon movie, but I don't think it was.
Movie.
No, it's not that one.
Was it Cloverfield?
Yes.
Ah,
I thought Cloverfield was okay.
I know nothing about Cloverfield.
I didn't
neither do
like
I.
I did not like Cloverfield.
It was okay. The biggest thing from Cloverfield is that one shot of like the Statue of Liberty's head flying off and landing in the middle of New York. And outside of that, there was not a single like remarkable shot in that movie until the end when they show the monster, and it looks stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I will
It was
say?
very cheesy.
I think I'd be okay with watching Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
I don't really like movies like that, but I don't know. It's been intriguing to me, the idea of that movie.
I feel like for a horror movie, I wouldn't be scared. I would just be bored because it's just like,
Yeah.
all right, well, it's very obvious what all the things are, and it's creepy. Like if you're watching it in the dark, it's like, oh, the thing moved. Oh no! But like, I feel like it's so old at this point that you know what you're looking for. The thing's gonna move. The footprints are gonna appear when they drop the powder in front of the door. The sheets are gonna move. Maybe there's a thing in the corner. I haven't actually seen the movie, but
I haven't seen it either.
I just don't care to watch it.
So I have one thing that I very much disagree with this person on in their user review.
Oh,
there's, I think, like 3 sentences I'm gonna read directly from the review.
Okay.
You also feel kinda sorry for the main character, which is Andrew, a social misfit whom is always bullied and abused by his father. In the end, you have the usual story telling how a broken man succumbs to the dark side, which is equivalent to Star Wars, except that Anakin is a hero, whereas Andrew is not.
I have several problems with that. First and foremost,
Sorry?
they used whom incorrectly there, and I could not get past that. Secondly, no to several things.
Notice so many things.
Just so many. Like, Anakin is never actually a hero. Like, if you're just looking at the movies, he spends the first movie as a child, where he doesn't actually, he like wins a race and is freed from slavery and does not actually do anything aside from like stealing the ship. He does blow up the like Luke Hulk spaceship, and it's really cool. But like, besides that,
Kind of a hero though, because that's.
I mean, yes, that is heroic, but he's not like altruistic about it. He's like, oh man, I want to fight in the space battle. So he takes the ship and he's like, well, they told me not to leave the ship. I'm just going to take the ship with me. And he flies up in the battle because the ship is on autopilot. And then he turns autopilot off and immediately is like, let me do some tricks. Spinning, that's a cool trick. And then he does some tricks. And then he blows up the Luke Hulk because he like flies inside of it. Is like, oh, this isn't where I want to be. He starts shooting, blows it up, and then leaves. And like, yeah, that's heroic. But it wasn't like...
That wasn't his intention.
Yeah, his intention was, I'm going to steal this ship and do some cool tricks. Or get out of here. And he just got autopiloted into the battle. The second movie, he is like creepy.
Yeah. He's really creepy.
And he murders an entire village. Not just the men, but the women and the children. He is very specific about it. He slaughtered them like animals. That's the moment he turns to the dark side. He is a villain doing heroic things up until episode 3, and then he's just a villain.
Yup.
And like,
2 Star Wars tangents in this.
I'll do a third, don't tempt me.
Okay.
So, what do we think the actual number is?
Did we just vote on
Yeah,
that?
Yeah,
you
we already
already
voted.
did
We
it.
already answered that
Josh,
one.
you got the point.
Yeah, you got it. That was the 10. That was the 10 out of 10,
Honestly,
wasn't it?
That was a 10 out of
I
10.
would.
Yeah.
This has been so long. I thought this is the next one.
Nope. All right. What's the next
The
one?
final one. With great power comes little responsibility.
Hey, they stole my quote. And changed it slightly.
I gotta go with 4 again.
Staying true, I'm gonna go 5.
What's my answer?
Your answer is 2.
2.
Heather, you got it right.
What? By random chance,
This
literally.
person gave it a 2 out of 10.
By random chance.
They don't like Andrew. They think he's a bland, boring character.
Fair.
Fair, yeah, can't argue that.
They think that the effects were stupid.
Fair.
Their word is stupid? The effects were
I-
stupid?
I mean, they don't say it's stupid. They say that it's like... Hang on, let me find it again. Yeah, they say that the effects just look stupid and dumb,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay, interesting.
They say that nothing changes in these kids' lives following the, like, superpower,
Okay, that's
gaining?
actually false.
which
That
is... Yeah, that's just
completely
very
false.
false. And they mention that the side story romance with Matt and I can't remember her name, Casey,
Casey.
is about as interesting as Bella and Edward.
I was gonna say I take offense. I don't take offense. I don't care that much. I don't agree with those last 2 points. Like, one, even discounting the death of 2 of the characters stemming directly from their powers, their lives changed, like, from a little bit too drastically. Like, first off, Steve did not hang out with these two people before they got powers, and then they became his best friends. Andrew did not have friends, and then he became almost like the most popular kid in school for a night. Matt, his life didn't really change that much, but he did like grow enough to actually start talking to Casey, a girl he had a crush on since the 7th grade. So yeah, no, their lives did change pretty dramatically after that. What was your other point that I was angry about? I don't remember what it was.
The side relationship being similar to Bella and Edward.
Okay, yeah, that. It was... Their relationship isn't... One, it's not similar to Bella and Edward, because Edward is just real creepy about it. Like,
Let me say exactly what they said. They said it was about as interesting as watching Bella and Edward.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's fair, but also they don't show their relationship. It's skipped over because it's not filmed. It's not really a part of the story. It is literally a background element. Like, it influences some things. Like, because he has this relationship with Casey, like, he is at, like, her brother's birthday party or something when stuff happens, and they start dating off screen. It is not a side story. It is a background element. You're not really supposed to be interested in it.
I thought of it more as a plot device to be able to get a viewpoint on Matt.
Also that. It's absolutely like a, hey, we need an organic reason why he would be filmed at any point when Andrew's not there.
Yeah.
So.
Now I do have some unfortunate news. Because Heather won that last round,
We have a
it is
three-way.
tied 2-2.
Yeah.
Do.
Now we have a legitimate reason
Now
for the
we have
tiebreaker.
an actual reason to do the tiebreaker.
All right.
IMDb rating out of 10 to the nearest 10th.
Do you want me to add another D10 so you can have two numbers here, or?
No, I'll actually do it. I'll say.
I'm gonna add another one just in case. Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll see how the random person
Yeah, we'll see how Google does.
All right. How does Google do?
Or Google's going first. Okay. So this is whole number. So Google says it's a 3.4.
I don't think it's a 3.4. I'm gonna say 6.7.
I'm gonna say 4.8.
5.5.
Heather wins. It's a 7.0.
Yay! Good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
The disgust on Josh's face as he said that.
Oh, I think despite this being a purely audio medium, I think they could feel it. That was palpable.
they could tell in his voice.
Atrocious.
I mean, you have to think about it. How many movies actually score below a 5?
Probably not a lot. I'd say. I think it has to be
Less
like a
than
real.
is deserved.
It has to be a really sensationally bad movie to get like a 5 or below. Honestly.
Yeah. So my thoughts were 6 is probably gonna be around the range that it's at, and I was right.
I was just gonna. I just realized I picked 5s this entire time, and I was like, I'll stick with it. Why not? Let's have a theme.
I mean, I kind of picked 4s the whole time too, aside from the Counter-Strike.
And apparently, rolling d10s is a viable option.
Yeah.
No, not good. There were a lot of user reviews being like, there's no way this should be a 7.5. So at one point it was a 7.5.
Oh my goodness.
But many people were mad at how highly rated this movie was. So
What was the Rotten Tomato score?
I don't know. I don't have that.
I can look it up.
Okay. I'm actually currently looking at the like ratings by demographics and the overall layout. The worst demographic for this movie by rating is females under 18
That makes sense.
who gave it an overall rating of 4.8.
Yeah. No. Listen. This movie is
Hey,
largely.
4.8. I win.
Yeah, for females under 18. This movie is largely from the viewpoint of teenage boys. It's not great in showing female characters respectfully.
Yeah.
I will fully admit that.
Yeah.
It's-
I definitely think it does not pass the Bechdel test.
Oh,
Because
no.
I'm pretty sure Casey is the only named female
Nope.
that we see.
His mom.
Andrew's mom has a name. She does not talk to another woman. She only
But-
talks to her husband and her son and no one else for the entire
When-
movie.
When do we learn her name?
At the
her-
beginning.
Yeah. His dad says it over the phone when he's trying to get her medication.
Okay.
Isn't it Karen?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Karen Detmer.
Because I was trying to figure out, I was like, who's Karen?
Yeah, there are 2 female characters with names. They don't talk to each other or ever meet. So yeah, no, not a feminist masterpiece.
Why on earth did this have an 85 on Rotten Tomatoes?
Ooh.
Some people really liked it.
Listen, I really like the movie. 85 is a little high.
The rating with the second most votes is 8 out of 10. So
Terrible.
Like the movie is, I think, a little bit too artsy for its own good, and it does not have the depth of thought to back
This
that
movie won awards.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like
up. It's not a bad movie, despite what Josh thinks.
I'm trying to look up the awards. It has 2 wins and 7 nominations. I don't think the wins are Oscars though.
They're not.
I would be very surprised if they were.
The Golden Schmoes Award.
Okay, that's from a YouTube channel.
Well, it's good enough for IMDb.
Good enough for IMDb.
All right, counts.
For breakthrough performance of the year.
Breakthrough-
For Dane DeHaan.
Was that the Green Goblin?
I think so. And then Golden Trailer Awards.
I don't know what that's from. I'm going to guess also a YouTube channel.
Probably.
But it won most original trailer.
Oh, good. Not the movie, the trailer.
I did also see several user reviews that say the trailer gives away all of the movie.
I don't remember what the trailer is for this movie at all.
Oh gosh.
I mean-
Super 8. What?
I remember
I
Super
remember that
8
movie
existing. I didn't actually see it.
Why are you bringing it up?
because it was under a similar movies.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
found
it's-
footage about psychic stuff, I think. Is
Yeah.
there a train in that one?
Don't remember.
I don't know.
why are we talking about if there's a train in that one?
I'm trying to think of anything
Oh,
I remember
okay.
from that movie.
The description on IMDb is during the summer of 1979, a group of friends witness a train crash and investigate subsequent unexplained events in their small town.
See, there is a train.
There is a train.
I don't remember. I didn't see the movie. The train is like the only thing I remember from the trailers.
It was written and directed by J.J. Abrams.
Huh.
Okay. There's one award nomination that I feel like we should discuss because I don't understand why this specific awards show decided to nominate this. The Society of LGBTQ Entertainment Critics
Go on.
nominated it for Unsung Film of the Year.
Is that it?
Okay.
Yes.
What?
I feel like that's completely unrelated to the society that has nothing to do with. They're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, we like this movie. There's no like LGBTQ plus people in it, but like
It's
we
a
just
good movie,
we
I
just liked the
guess.
movie and no one else talked about it.
I'm trying to see what it lost to.
Anything.
Well, it has to be an unsung movie, Josh. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of well-sung movies from 2012.
It lost to a movie called Bernie.
Bernie.
Is there like a?
I'm
poster
reading.
or-
So the IMDb description of Bernie is. Hang on, come on,
I'm hanging.
load, please. In small town Texas, an affable mortician strikes up a friendship with a wealthy widow. Though when she starts to become controlling, he goes to great lengths to separate himself from her grasp.
Well, it's certainly unsung. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Has a 6.8 on IMDb.
Okay.
All right, so I feel like we've come to the end of the amount of time we want to spend talking about this, so I'm gonna rapid fire my last couple notes lightning round style.
Cool.
All right.
All right, so next note, clever use of mirrors. I really liked how a lot of the time they were just like, all right, well, we can capture several people in this shot without doing a shot reverse shot by having one of them framed in the mirror, and we'll just change the focus so that they're like in focus or out based on who's talking. That was neat. I liked that.
I agree with that.
It's very cool. Next up, Matt calls it the talent show is the beginning of Andrew's downfall. Hubris and all that. That
Yeah.
was very good. I thought that was nice. He was joking, but he was right. That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was cool. Good filmmaking. Andrew killing the spider is Green Goblin foreshadowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's a joke, but still, it's very funny.
Didn't that? No. The first Amazing Spider-Man came out in 2012, right?
That sounds right. Give me a sec.
And I think the second one came out in 2014. Yeah. The Amazing Spider-Man.
2012 film.
Yep.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out in. What about the Amazing Spider-Man 2? Was that the next year or
2014.
2014?
Right on the mark both times.
Okay.
So yeah, he was in this, and then they saw this after they made the first one. They're like, this guy hates spiders.
It's just-
Yeah. That's why they got him. I think Dane DeHaan does a good job playing both of these roles.
Yeah, he does. I
Yeah.
feel like if they had given him better material for both of these roles,
Yeah.
he would have done a much better job with these characters. Like, he does a really good, like, Harry Osborn, and then they're like, alright, cool, now we have to make him the Goblin for 10 minutes, and he does not great with that because they don't give him anything good to do with it.
Yeah.
It's the weird hair, and it's a weird choice. A lot of weird choices for that movie. A lot of weird choices for this movie. Moving on, I think this is a better origin story than the Joker movie.
I haven't seen the Joker movie.
Neither have I.
Huh. Well, you're not missing out on anything.
No, it's uncomfy for several reasons.
But we live in a society.
We live in a
Yes,
society.
we do live in a society.
Society.
I think the Joker movie was good for one thing. It produced a couple of solid memes.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I will say that you guys don't care about spoilers for the Joker movie, right?
No.
Not at all.
Cool. The scene where he shoots the guy on TV, that was actually genuinely shocking because they did not cut away from that like at all. He just pulls out the gun and shoots the guy, and like the movie stays on it, and that was fairly shocking. You know what?
Yeah.
Good job with that. The rest of it, not great. The whole important thing about the Joker is that he's a mystery. Giving us his origin demystifies the Joker. It's why Death in the Family is a bad storyline.
Are you just shitting on Batman now?
I'm not shitting on Batman. I'm shitting on
Specifically, Joker origin story.
Yeah, I'm shitting on giving the Joker an origin story. He's an enigma. He needs to be. He's not. Enigma is the Riddler. He's not supposed to be a known quantity. Knowing his quantity makes him lesser as a character. He is chaos incarnate.
Don't you mean they? There have been 3
We're not.
Jokers.
Nope. Stop that. Moving on. I thought it was really cool that in the end of the movie, Andrew says, "I'm stronger than all of this," and those were Andrew's mom's words to him about like not being down about the situation.
Oh,
She's like, "I want to hear
yeah.
you say it," and he never says it, and then he says it at the movie. But it's when he's crazy and trying to kill people.
Yep. He says it at the movie.
At the movie, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, man. This is. If there's anything this is, it's a movie.
That's
He
for
says
sure.
it at
He
the
says
end
it
of
at
the
the
movie.
end.
Man, definitely one of my top movies.
That's it.
I want to say, as much as I liked the acting in this, Matt and Andrew's acting at the end was really really hokey at the climax, where they're like when they're just yelling, and we just cut back and forth between their faces, and they're just yelling. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not great. It goes on for too long. Like, it's just Andrew, Andrew,
Andrew, stop.
Andrew, stop, Andrew, like it just keeps going. Like, all right, cool. You called him. He didn't stop. It just. And then it cuts to, like, the statue, and it cuts back to him, and he calls Andrew 5 more times. Like, just kill him. Just kill him.
Just do it.
Just do it, please.
Do it.
That was one of the things I was thinking in this, is both of them had to have had the thought well in advance that they should just kill the other person.
Yeah.
Because it is not hard for them to do that.
I mean, it sort of is, because they have the whole force field thing, but also, like, at that point, when they're just standing and yelling for 4 hours while the police stare at them, like, I feel like that whole sequence should have been cut down by, like, 2/3. Because, like, the police are like, don't stand up, and then he's standing there yelling, and he pushes them back, and they're like, they have, like, snipers. There's, like, the red dots on him, like, all of the police in this city who have not been killed or hurt are aiming their guns at this guy who is yelling and was previously flying and crushing buildings, and they're just like, stop it. 10 more seconds of this, I'm gonna get real mad.
We'll shoot.
We'll shoot you.
Not Matt yelling for a solid 2 or 3 minutes, don't shoot, he's hurt, or something like that. Like, literally, they're just like, don't shoot. It's like, we're not. I think they even said, we won't shoot at one point, and he just keeps yelling.
Yeah, that was actually a different scene. That was the first time they got knocked down.
Yeah, that was the first time.
And it's more egregious because they did it twice.
They did it twice, and the first time it's Matt yelling, don't shoot, while Andrew's kind of unconscious for a second.
Yeah.
And then the police are just like, we won't.
And then they shoot him.
How about we do anyway?
Yeah.
And they shoot him in the hand.
And then the second time, it's just them yelling forever. And then he's like, all right, well, it's been about 4 minutes. I'm just gonna take this statue and stab you with it.
Well, it's really funny because after the first instance of the standoff, right? It's shown, like, they say, you are now, like, shoot to kill. Like, shoot to kill now.
Yeah.
Not shoot to, like, stop or anything. It's like, shoot to kill. Just kill them.
And they still just wait.
They didn't.
They wait for so long. Anyway, moving back to the lightning round. Yeah, the cameras became part of Andrew, like the powers. I thought that was a nice touch. He used the camera to distance himself from people, and it became as much a part of him as, like, the powers that he used initially to, like, bring these two people closer, but then again to distance himself from everyone, to the point where at the end of the movie, Matt's like, hey, you made it to Tibet, but he's just talking to a camera, because the cameras are kind of a part of Andrew, even though Andrew's dead.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice little, like, not poetic, but, like, thematic thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was a nice little, like, story beat. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
And then that's it. The last note is actually the Josh Trank Fant3stic thing that I brought up at the start.
Well, this has been Chronicle.
That it has.
Yep.
We are HQ Movie Review. I'm Josh.
Nope. Stop. We have to tell them where we are, like, who we were and where we are.
You've messed
Both
it
of those
up.
things.
You've
We
messed
always
it up.
we always just panic, say that at the end. That's our thing now.
No. Redo it.
Redo
We're
it.
starting over.
Okay, check us out
Welcome
on
to HQ Movie
Facebook.
Review.
No.
This week we watched.
Fant3stic.
Anyway, you can check us out on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere else you get podcasts. Now, this has been HQ Movie Review, and I'm Josh.
I'm Jack.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Heather.
You remembered all the things this time. I'm so proud.
Woo.
I am an apex predator.
Ah, good.